Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm your host, Jeff Howard, and I've got Steven Smith with me today. Steven has been a producer on a couple films that have been at the film festival, some of my absolute favorites. Hey, Steven, good to see you.
Hey, how's it going?
Very good. It's good to talk to you. I'll start by telling everyone that I know you as a collaborator of Hayden Croft. Hayden Croft is a person I really enjoy. He impressed me because he came into 5 years ago, I think. He was, one of the first people to do this podcast because I really liked the first film of his I saw called New Age Old English. And when he showed up with his book of short stories and handed it to me. And I actually took it with me like on a trip and read it. I just loved his short stories too. So I was like, man, this is a talented young man. I think now he's had 3 or 4 films in the festivals over the last 7 years, and you were involved in many of them.
Yeah, Hayden and I have produced many things together, and we both just have such passion for film. So
that's excellent. Well, and now I'll let you just tell everybody the impetus for our chat.
Yeah. So it begins. So in August 2020. I was diagnosed with COVID when it first came out. And, I was like anyone else. It was kind of like it just hit me, but not very bad. It wasn't like I didn't get sick. I just got the thing they call brain fog. So what it is for like a month, I was just like, my head was just hurting and I just couldn't watch TV and I just couldn't focus. It was just awful for one whole month.
August, just like August 2020, way before vaccines. People were still debating all kinds of things. But yeah, so you got the brain fog and you got tested and you tested positive.
Yeah, my girlfriend and I, we just came back from Vegas, and we thought it'd be a good idea to get tested. She came back negative, and I came back positive. So, who would have thought?
Yeah, it's not as I've learned personally when my 14-year-old stepdaughter came into our house, and she actually had tested positive for COVID and didn't know it yet. But she took the test and then came over to our house for 4 days, and we found on day 4 that she was positive and was like, whoa. And we didn't get it.
That's good.
Yeah, you can be right in a room, right in a car with somebody. It's not like you always get it if you're exposed, but
yeah. Well, I have to tell you the story of when I found out about it. The worst part about this was, I'm at the beach, right? I'm at a restaurant in Malibu. What's it called? The Paradise Cove. I'm there with my girlfriend for her birthday, and I get I'm checking my emails and I get the results, and I look at her. I'm like, oh shit, the results came in. And then it says, I'm positive. And she says, I'm negative. And I kind of just like look at her and I'm just like, then I look around at all the people at this restaurant and I'm just like, shit, I don't know if we should be here. It's such like a weird feeling to be like the person who is sick, who no one knows.
Yeah, complete paradigm shift to your evening that it's an outdoor restaurant. You're like sitting outdoors in Malibu in the summer, and all of a sudden you realize, whoa, I am responsible now.
If anyone around me gets sick, it's probably my fault, So I'm not an asshole, I'm not that type of dude. So I'm literally like trying to keep my mask on like the whole dinner or the whole lunch. I'm trying to keep my mask on, like eating as fast as I can. And I'm just like, shit, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here and go. And luckily, we weren't too close to everybody, but it worked out. I ate really quickly and I kept my mask on right after, and we got the check and we got out of there. So I was as respectful as I could be, but that feeling was like just one of the worst, seriously, one of the worst feelings in the world to get that email saying positive. And before, when COVID first started hitting, like I was scared about it. I was worried about getting COVID for like weeks because it was in the news and people were dying and all this stuff. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm at my house and I didn't even want to go see my girlfriend because she goes out and like her family goes out, and I'm more of a homebody. So it's just the lead up to getting COVID was stressful, So
man, I feel that sucks too. Like I'm a bit of a homebody too. Like, and it strikes me as just tragic. You're a homebody, but you happen to go to Vegas and get exposed to a bunch of human beings. And, man, it just shows how vulnerable people were.
Yeah. Oh, and not to mention, I was wearing a mask, but so how there's like the N95 masks? Well, I was wearing just like one of those like cover up ones, like a basic one. So that didn't matter because it could get through. So the whole time I thought I was doing the right thing by wearing a mask, thought I was safe. Didn't matter.
Well, I guess I'm hitting the oldest drum in the COVID orchestra, but right, the mask protects everyone around you from the water droplets of your mouth. Like that's the hardest thing to deal with the people who are against masks and things. For me, is that when you wear a mask, you're protecting everyone from your germs. You're not protecting yourself that much from theirs. Like even an N95, like probably isn't on well enough to, if a sick person was coughing at you or, there's stuff laying on you for whatever, you know what I mean? Like you were doing the right thing to protect people from you. Other people weren't protecting you from them, I
will say though, I've been, speaking of the N95 mask, I've been to the hospital like 6 times. And wearing that mask has saved me from getting COVID again and again and again. So I do endorse the N95 mask.
For sure.
Actually is it actually legit. So
yeah, I'm just saying, I just whenever I hear the mask and protection thing, I have to be like, we're supposed to wear it to protect others. Like even in Asian cultures, when you have a cold, you wear a mask on the subway because you're being respectful of others,
Definitely. So to continue the story, August 2020, find out I have COVID. For about a month, I have the brain fog. And now what happens is it causes stress. It's a stressor. Like, oh no, I'm worried, am I going to get worse? Like, what's going to happen to me? And as this is going on, I still have things going on. I'm investing in cryptocurrency. I have a small business where I buy and sell stuff. I'm a delivery guy. So like, I have all these other things going on and film and, it's your whole life is going on as this is happening. And it starts making me depressed. I start getting kind of depressed and very anxious. I'm anxious every day, literally from the day I got COVID till I got on the right medication, which is like now. So literally for like a 2-year span of life of every day being anxious, worried, depressed.
Yeah. So with now cat's out of the bag, you have long COVID.
Yes, long COVID.
So the brain fog that you discussed of that first month, you just never quite felt like yourself, and you felt like you never had your facilities like they were previously.
Oh no, I'm definitely not.
And I can imagine what it would be. Look, I'm in my mid 50s, and I have to deal with my ailing facility. I can't do some things that I used to, and to think of that happening like overnight from getting an illness and then it not going away, I can't imagine how stressful it was.
Yeah, and honestly, it just feels like it literally feels every day like I'm like kind of like hungover. That's the way in like this article I sent you. It's like kind of feeling like you're hungover, you don't have energy to do things, and then I'm just hungry all the time. But to get back to the back to 2020, I did an investment in Vegas where I invested in buying a house, and that was supposed to be like, that was my life. I was going to move to Vegas with my girlfriend, and we were going to like kind of start things. And the house stuff just kind of was a headache after headache, water problems. Like it was 100 Vegas. I don't know if people know this, but don't move to Vegas in the middle of summer. It's 115 plus for like half of like the summer months.
Yeah.
And I
at
got
night
like
it cools off to about 95, 100 at night. Like middle of the night, you still need the air conditioning on full blast.
Yeah, and I didn't know. I really didn't know this. So when we kind of started getting things moved in, I kept the AC at like 78, and I still had to do stuff outside. So I was getting like heat stroke, and like that just made things worse for me, you know. And this is like probably about a year later. So I think what happened was I didn't have much symptoms from when I first got it. I just had kind of the brain fog, and my body was fine. Like I wasn't getting really fatigued too bad because I still could function. I still could do things. I was just really getting really stressed out, like really stressed, and things were just kind of, you know, started to lose weight. So to show you, I was 210 pounds when I started 2 years ago. And from then to recently, I was down to 132 pounds. And I'll get into that later. But, you know, that's 80 plus pounds lost in a matter of like 2 years, which is a lot.
Which, well, also obviously like a minimum healthy weight. Mm-hmm. I don't know your height. But
I'm 5'10", I say. So
5'10", yeah. So, I mean, obviously 130 it's such a red flag that there's way more going on than most people associate with COVID.
Yeah. So I don't know how much, you know, I don't know how long we were talking for, but I'll get in breaking it down kind of to what kind of started happening. So this is where it gets crazy is about a year and later is when it started getting way worse.
Really? So the end of the following summer, August 2021, September 2021, symptoms got much worse.
Yeah, this is when
they had never let up for a year.
Yeah,
but and then it took a turn for worse.
Yeah, and they put me on antibiotics. I've done MRIs, I've done CT scans, I've been to the hospital 6 times. You know, they just can't find what's wrong. Really, my blood work. They just keep drawing blood, doing the same things. And the only thing I had wrong was low vitamin deficiency in vitamin D and vitamin B. But besides that, that's like the main things that they could find wrong.
Yeah. And obviously vitamin deficiency doesn't lead to what you were experiencing.
Mm-hmm. So, so then after about a year in, I started getting the neuropathy part of this. So it literally... about a year and a half in, I started losing my mind, man. I'm not even joking. Like I was literally going insane. I was going crazy. It's like adrenaline. What this does is it gives you these adrenaline boosts. So you're on this like crazy high kick all day. It's like, you're just like on adrenaline, and like, you're just so worried about what's happening to you that it makes you depressed and it makes you anxious, and that's why I kept going back to the hospital, because there was something wrong, but they cannot find it, you know. And it made me exhausted. I'd be up stressed, and then I'd go to bed at like 12 o'clock, and then I'd be waking up at 3, 4, 5 in the morning for like months, because my body, you know, everything's off.
Yeah, it sounds like your endocrine system and other things were like probably out of whack and giving you adrenaline and things when you shouldn't. And for those listening, when Steven mentions neuropathy, I happen to be a cancer survivor who has pretty noticeable neuropathy in my hands and feet. And it is, you know, people describe it as just like a numbness or a tingle, but actually it can be highly uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to be really careful about what kind of shoes I wear, because my feet just start to hurt like hell with the neuropathy. Like it's just damage to the nervous system. In my case, the damage to my nervous system did save my life. but it tells me that what COVID was doing to your body was damaging your nervous system in a serious way.
Yeah. So what I read actually the other day is that the virus actually it hits you and then it hides in your stomach, from what I've been reading. And the particles kind of spread to your organs and different parts of the body. So what happened to me is with 6 months, 7-8 months from before, is I started getting really bad joint pain. I started losing, it attacked you from the head down, what I'm experiencing. So I started getting very bad joint pain. My shoulder, I could barely move my arms, and my elbows and my strength. It just started just zapping my strength like this. Like when I used to work out like 3 years ago, I could curl like 30-pound weights. Now I can barely curl 3-pound weights, are like really heavy for me now. Like it just zaps you from the top down. And that's kind of like what's been going on with me. And it didn't help because I had a girlfriend for almost 4 years. We dated for 4 years, and the last 6 months of it was just me being sick and having problems with her. Like, we're not sure if we're going to stay together. She wants to get married. Like the whole process, is kind of being ruined. It literally is like ruining my life because I'm with a woman who I love, and we're trying to move out and live together and do this whole thing, but I couldn't. I literally couldn't. It stopped my whole demeanor, my whole progress.
Right. And that's really rough because obviously she's in a horrible position of loving you, but wanting a future that maybe she can't have with you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's added to this. I mean, I wanted to say, like, when you said, like, it's hard to imagine as an adult, like, your muscles just atrophying and you not being able to like lift a weight. Like it's, like, I can't imagine how upsetting that is, and
oh yeah, I was crying. Man, I was crying.
Go ahead. You can continue the story, but obviously, it adds stress to it because you have someone you want to be your life partner, and it's hard.
Yeah. And it didn't help. Like, I'm not bashing her or anything, but she was just wanted to live her own life, So she was going on trips, and she wasn't really, my mom was taking care of me instead of my girlfriend. So it kind of was like a tough situation, I guess you could say. But then the nerve pain 6 months ago, all of a sudden it felt like literally someone was burning my arms. Like someone was just like someone was, my whole arms and knees and legs were just on fire for like months. And then
so the nervous system was just under attack.
Yeah, totally. And that's when I started going to the hospital. I just couldn't take it. And they couldn't find anything. They did MRIs, CT scans over and over again. They did abdomen check, the ultrasound. They did every blood test. They threw everything that they do at the emergency rooms.
Yeah.
And imagine how it feels when your neighbors see you have the ambulance called like 4 times. So all my neighbors now are kind of like, they're always like, oh shit, is he going to the hospital again? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and they don't know if maybe you're ODing or maybe you're too hard, or maybe
they might think I'm like, no, I'm just not doing too many drugs. No, they know that what I'm going through now.
Okay, so they know. So they're aware that like your life is in danger, and every time they see that ambulance, they're probably worried for you.
Yeah, definitely. So that would happen, and I guess I'll just kind of fast forward to the past like couple months.
Well, actually, I got a dumb guy question for a sec.
Okay.
Maybe some other people listening would want to ask. Did you start testing negative throughout this? Like all these effects happen and like a test doesn't show the virus present?
Yeah, that's the problem. There is no test to show that it's still there.
Yeah. So doctors don't know what to do.
Oh, and I got to show you this. Where's the stack? I'm coming right back. Where's the stack of papers? Oh my God.
Oh, your stack of papers from hospitals and doctors and everything.
Oh yeah. You get like.
I mean, look, when my dad had a heart attack on a cruise ship, I ended up with a stack like this. I can imagine what yours is like.
Literally, because we didn't know what was happening, Like I went to I went to the GI doctor, a rheumatoid doctor, primary doctor, psychiatrist, psychologist, every doctor you can like throw the book, a neurologist, like every doctor you can think of, they just started throwing, we just kept calling and saying, maybe we need to go to this doctor. We need to go to that doctor, So, and it didn't matter. It really didn't matter. That's what happened. There was a dude who I read about. He went to the doctor to the hospital 26 times, and they still weren't able to figure out what was wrong with him, really.
And is there anybody like doing the work? I don't know if it's CDC or FDA. Is anybody tracking it? Like tracking, like shouldn't you be in a database so that everybody who they think is at least experiencing long COVID, they can start comparing? And
yeah, you would think so, but I know for sure I read something that they have like 13,000 people that are registered, like they are checking. I went to, which I was going to get into, I went to UCLA for it. And this is where my story gets like a lot more crazy. Basically, what is it, about 3 months ago. So this is when I started just losing weight like crazy. I probably went from like 160 pounds to like 132 pounds in like a matter of like maybe like 3 weeks.
Right. And so you had lost 50 over the time, and then you lost another 30 in a couple weeks.
Yeah. And probably like less than a month.
Yeah.
And I thought I was dying. Like my mind and my body were just giving up. It was insane. And my mom and my parents my family were watching this, and they just wanted to help me, but they didn't know what to do, And I was at the point where I could only speak like 3 words, like 5 words. All I knew was mom, food, bathroom. Like I was stuck in my bed for like 4 weeks.
Yeah, you had so little energy, you had to conserve it.
Yeah. I was stuck in my bed, and I had the neuropathy going, and the where your body freezes up your muscles.
What do you call paralysis?
Kind of. What's it called? You mentioned it earlier. I forget what. So it's where you can't really move your legs and your arms. Atrophy.
Oh yeah, atrophy. Yeah.
Yeah, I was atrophying like crazy because I was literally just laying in bed, not getting out of bed, and my mom would bring me food, and I'd have to like literally I had the urinal. I would pee on the side of the bed and have to use the bathroom on the side of the bed because it hurt so bad to get up and move my legs. Like my body just started felt like it was falling apart.
I'm shaking my head side to side because I'm speechless on this.
Yeah. And
that's the stage you reached that point and that's when you first went to UCLA, or they had been looking at you for a while?
I was calling doctors. I was doing blood work. I was doing a lot of stuff. Then my aunt was like, and my uncle were like, we need to get him into UCLA, because they have a good program. But I honestly wanted to die in the bed. It hurts. I was in so much pain, and just I thought my body was just giving out. I was ready to go.
You'd reach a point where this you were done struggling.
Yeah, I was just done. And so certain people, I was able to get some pain medication, wink, wink, which kind of helped, but not really that much. And at one point, I was only able to go to the bathroom. Number 2, for it was in me for like 4 or 5 days, and I go to the bathroom normally like once a day. You know what I mean? So when I had to go to the bathroom, let me tell you, that was one of the worst experiences of my life. Like literally, it felt like my butt was being ripped open. Like it was insane.
I had the exact same experience during chemo.
Really?
When I was I had a really harsh chemotherapy that at times I was laying in bed thinking this isn't worth it. I'd rather be dead.
Yeah.
I had 5 days a week, 6 hours a day of 4 chemo drugs because it had gotten in my lymph system. And actually, we can curse on here. Taking a shit.
Yeah.
I have a friend who is a massive actor. He was one of the pirates, and he was the guy who backhanded Keira Knightley in Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, I joked and I said, I feel like Isaac has just punched me. Right, like it was the most pain I'd ever felt, honestly, trying to get a bowel movement out of my chemo riddled body.
Oh yeah.
So everything you're saying reminds me of when my body was completely compromised from chemotherapy.
Yeah, it was like, when people die, you like they release their bowels. That's what it like felt like. It felt like the pain was so intense, and like when I went to the bathroom, it was just like the biggest relief. It was just like and I thought, like, I just, I don't know. I really don't know how I pushed through. Like, I'm a fighter because, and then they ask you if you feel suicidal and like all these questions, and you're like, it's not really suicide. It's more like you just want this pain to go away. It's not. Yeah. I don't.
Looking forward to a gentle passing is not suicidal. It's
yeah. It's just the pain was so severe, and like no one understands it unless you're going through it.
Yeah, pain is a fascinating subject because it's supposed to be alerting us to something that needs to be addressed, but when it becomes overwhelming, not even opiates can really hold up to it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then they would only tell me to take Tylenol and Advil. And at this point, they didn't do anything. Tylenol, I was taking Tylenol, Advil, didn't do much, didn't help the pain. And it's like the weirdest thing when you can't move your toes, like that was freaking me out. Like I could barely move my feet, and not being able to walk. When you're a person who's walked their whole life and then you can barely put weight on your feet and barely make it to the bathroom, like it's an awful feeling. It's one of the craziest things I've ever experienced, Yeah,
my God. All right. So you get even though you're almost out of gas, that you get to UCLA, that you listen to your aunt and uncle and you get into UCLA Medical Center for, I guess they have a research program about long COVID, or? So
my aunt submitted a form, and my mom called the ambulance to get me there. So then I got into UCLA, and they were just doing the tests. And my uncle actually came to see me, and he had convinced me to tell him, like, I'm depressed, I'm suicidal, or because they were going to release me back. They were just going to keep me in the hospital for a few days and then release me back to my house. So because I've been trying to, get on depression medication, and nothing has been working. Literally, I got to pull out this bag. I have a bag this big with just this high with Prozac, like all these drugs that just didn't, that I kept trying to take that just wasn't working. I couldn't get my head back. But my uncle came and he talked to me and he said, tell him, you're depressed, tell him you're suicidal, like tell him all these things so you can get into the mental part of this. And, for the most part, I'm happy that I did that. So they took me into the UCLA ward. I forget what part of it I was in, but I was there for 3 weeks, man. And were they treating you as a psychiatric patient, or were they treating you as a long COVID patient, or was it a mix? It was a mix of both. Yeah. And I kept telling them how much pain I'm in, but they still would only give me Tylenol the whole time I was there.
I wonder if it's just they've learned that the body gets right. We get used to opiates so quickly that they can't bother with opiates, maybe because the amount of Vicodin that'll work today won't work tomorrow, and they'll turn you into a drug addict if they give you Vicodin for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So they pretty much got me on Ativan, which is a drug they don't really like people staying on, Cymbalta and Latuda, and all those three, they pretty much got me on like within like the first week of being there. And that Cymbalta or something one of those medications reset my mind, because I went from like just being like out of it to like not talking like at all, and just thinking I was gonna die to getting my mind back, started eating again, being associated with like normal human interaction. So
really, so that mixture of prescription drugs actually did help your brain chemistry at that point.
Yeah, it did.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah, no, yeah, seriously.
Were you still completely physically debilitated?
Yeah. Physically, yeah. I could literally, my hands, I could barely move my hands, and they were forcing me to feed myself. Like the nurses don't want to feed you, so they're like, no, you got to feed yourself. And I'm just like literally my arm movements like this much, so I'm like forcing myself to drink water, taking like the smallest bites of food. You know what I mean? Like I'm literally fighting for my life, just trying to eat food. It was that hard. And then, then they started doing this psychoanalytics of that part of it. So I've never had experienced this before in my life, but because they do this thing where they put you on a 50-50 hold if you say that you're suicidal. And that means they have someone watching you all the time.
Right. You're on suicide watch.
Yeah. And I've never been through that in my life.
Yeah. But basically you're never left alone.
Yeah. So I was never left alone. And, and it's so noisy in the hospital, so you don't sleep. There's always things going on, and I'm just like not sleeping at all, and things are just getting crazy. And I'm like trying to get help, but I'm just like, I can barely speak. So I'm just kind of like, I'm like, food, help. And then for some reason, the social worker comes in, and this is when my uncle came too. And something in my brain was like, this is right before the meds kicked in. Something in my brain was just like, oh, you got to get it together, because I was able to start processing more and having conversations and all this. So then I was in the UCLA mental ward for 3 weeks. The food, actually, I will say this, the food in UCLA medical is not that bad. I will say that. So they put me on a gluten-free diet, because you don't want to have gluten if you have COVID. And then you want to be sugar-free, gluten-free, and lactose-free. Those are all, that's
right.
That's like,
so there's anything that can be a common allergen. They're like, let's avoid anything that human bodies ever react poorly with.
Yeah. So then they gave me the vitamin D, 1,000 milligrams of that, and then the Cymbalta, the Ativan, and then the Latuda. And the Ativan, they don't really like to give you, but for me, it was just keeping me calm, And right now they're trying to wean me off of it. They didn't want to give me like a whole month's supply, but I told them like I need it. It's like keeping me really calm,
Yeah, yeah. And then were you able to get some, with that help, were you able to get like a slight improvement physically, or?
Yeah, so what happened was they had a little bit of physical therapy. So they would have me get up and walk to the bathroom, walk as best as I could. And I was literally, they have this room for like social room, which is a good like 100 feet away from where my room was. And the physical therapist had me walk. I haven't been walking for like literally like 5 weeks. The furthest I would walk is like maybe like 20 feet to a bathroom. So all of a sudden the physical therapist is like, all right, we're going to get you up and start walking again. And I'm just like, what?
Did you just believe it couldn't happen, or?
Yeah, in my mind, I was like, shit, my legs are gonna break. So, so they started having me use like this machine, and they put me on this rolling machine that you use your arms to grab up, and they would actually wheel me to the bathroom, right? And while I'm in the bathroom, someone has to stand right there, and
right, because you're still on watch.
Yeah, so it's kind of a weird thing when you're taking a poo, and you have someone like kind of watching you take a poo. You know, that's something you got to get used to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, to add to the list of shit you got to deal with.
Yeah.
You feel like a dog at the park, that look on the dog's face at the park, like, why are you staring at me? I'm just trying to go here.
And so there's someone always there when I'm trying to take a shit. Excuse my language. Oh, and then taking a shower on top of that I had to grab this wheelie thingy, and they would take me to the shower out where all the other people are, like the people they just get off the streets. So there's a homeless guy, I love the homeless. Like I understand, like everyone has their issues and I totally get it. But there's a dude there with like his toenails are black. Like it's disgusting. His hair is like, it's just the most disgusting, dirty. You can tell he hasn't showered in a long time. And he walks out of the shower right before me. And I'm just like, I have to go in there, like, no, man.
I mean, I don't want to distract from your story, but yeah, I have a policy of trying to help the home, like give unhoused people food and stuff when I have a chance.
Yeah.
And my wife and I saw someone not long ago, and she's like, how many showers would it take?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like for a human being to get clean after that long.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
So that shower was completely wrecked when you got in it?
Oh, it wasn't like, they're pretty good about keeping it clean, but that was probably the one time in life I didn't want to take a shower because I was like, oh no. But for the most part, it was fine. I got in, but I had to have people helping because like literally my arms, I can only move my arms like this much and like feed myself like this. Like I didn't even have strength to like lift the tray or anything. So I had to have a dude help me shower, so these nurses, they're all seeing me naked all the time. So, I'm a 35-year-old guy, not barely able to move, having to have help from like people. Like it's such a weird, it's such a weird thing to experience,
Yeah. I mean, they're professionals, right? So you're in good hands, but you don't expect it at 35.
Oh, and then I have to tell you about, can I tell you about one of the people who came in who was pretty psycho?
Sure. You can tell anything about this experience. I mean, look, from my being unable to do this in the last week, this conversation, because my mom, who's in her 80s, fell and broke a bone in her femur and was in an emergency room. And she said, these people are, she was like, these people are screaming all night. And I said, Mom, you try getting off of heroin, like, overnight. Seriously. Like those people are in bad shape.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I will tell you the story of my roommate. So this guy, we called him the pirate because he came in with a patch over his eye. And it's really sad. It's really not funny, but it's just that's how he got his name, the pirate. So what happened is he got in a fight with his roommates, right? I don't know if he was drunk or high on drugs or what it was, but he decided to fight his roommate. And then he jumped out of a 4-story building of the glass window, out of his window to try and kill himself. And and when he landed, he survived. And he picked up a piece of the glass, stabbed himself in the eye, and then cut open his wrist to try and make himself bleed to death. and it was like insane. So this dude's like all on adrenaline, and he's telling us the story. He told me the story, and he's just sitting there like, God is good. God will save me. He's just keeps repeating himself.
So he's explaining the story where he had a complete mental breakdown, a complete psychic break. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there were drugs involved in his story or anything, but yeah, he's telling you this like it's behind him.
He tells me his story. He's like, I'm here because I tried to kill myself, blah blah blah, and I know God is good and God will save me. And like he's just in this whole like stuck in this like rant about God stuff. I don't know. I don't even know. But that dude, so they finally get him medication and get him to sleep, right? So he wakes up, like all of a sudden he starts yelling, and he's my neighbor, right? And I'm like,
two beds in a room?
Shit. No, he's right next door. We got our own rooms, which
right on the other side of the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, right on the other side. All of a sudden he gets up and starts yelling, right? And I'm just like, oh shit, what's wrong with him? And actually, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this because of UCLA stuff. So I'll just tell you the rest. Nothing bad happened, but he got up, he throws a chair in the hallway, right? And the chair is right next to my room. And then he looks in my room and just gives me like a death stare. Like I thought he was going to come in and like kill me.
So you're laying in bed, going through what you're going through, and then someone having a psychotic break is like looking in your doorway and looking right at you.
Yeah, literally with a pirate patch, with one eye, just like, like, and I literally called the staff. I was like, help! Like,
yeah, I mean, you're legitimately afraid for your life at that point. But I assume they have staff everywhere.
And it just so happened I was on the phone with my mom because you get, phone time. I got my phone time, and I'm on the phone with my mom being like, holy shit, this guy's up and he's going to kill me, Mom. Like, this might be it. This might be it, how it ends, Oh,
my God. After all that, to have someone with a psychic break take you out, that would have been nuts.
Yeah, right? So the security didn't come for like a good hour. So security had to come and take his ass away, dude. I mean, I feel bad for him, but like that just ruined my night. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, it's crazy. It's rough that they have to put people on the same, people there for very different reasons.
Yeah, definitely. And then like the neighbor across the whole hall was suicidal. She was suicidal for like 4 years, and she said that she has a family, wife and kids, and she was just saying how she's like, I just feel like there's nothing more for me to live for, So you start to meet these interesting people, you know what I mean? Everyone has a story, and I was the only one in there for COVID. So
yeah, I mean, I was just thinking to myself that you're there because of a physical impairment, a continued physical impairment has affected your mental state.
Yeah.
And they're there just because something horrible has happened to their mental state.
Yeah.
They're there for mental reasons. I mean, the reason you did have the mental thoughts that brought you to that ward, I mean, were pretty understandable. It's not just that you're and by the way, I mean, total empathy for people who have psychic breaks. I probably shouldn't. As long as I don't name names, like I had a college roommate, like who had to be, who had just had a complete breakdown.
Yeah.
It's when someone's mind goes, like it is something else.
Oh yeah. And the thing is, my best friend Vince, when he was a teenager, he went through it. He went through a psychic breakdown, and thank God he got off drugs. Now he's dating a wonderful girl, and he's been there for me. He knows what it's like to be depressed and suicidal and all that stuff. So, he's trying to help me through this while this is going on, which is really nice to him, but the only person who came to visit me was my mom, which I'm not complaining. Thank God I had someone come. A lot of people, imagine being in there and not having a person for you there,
Would they have let anyone visit you, or did it have to be family at that point because it was such a delicate...
You had, I think, anyone, but you have to be like fully vaccinated, and you only get 1 hour. It's ridiculous. They give you from like 5 to 6 o'clock, and that's it.
Yeah.
So like, if it was my mom, like say it was reverse, like say it was like my brother or something, I'm not fully vaccinated. So, that means I couldn't go see my family member, which I could tell, I'm going to be honest. I kind of felt like because I wasn't vaccinated, I kind of felt like maybe the staff was, they don't, I don't know, maybe because it just kind of felt like, they discourage that a little bit,
Right. Like you got a sense that it rubbed them the wrong way that you weren't vaccinated?
Well, literally,
you say no.
They check your so what they do is they check your vitals every day, twice a day, and then they take your blood like once a week, and it pops up. Literally, it pops up in red on the screen like unvaccinated. So every time I see that screen for the medication, it says unvaccinated. I'm just reminded,
right?
Can't get away from it.
Were you? I mean, I'm sure someone would ask this. Like, were you not vaccinated because once you have long COVID and your body has been weakened, you were advised it's not safe to do it?
It's kind of that's kind of the main reason is because a lot of people who do get it can make them better, but some people get way worse. So for me, I'm not going to chance it. Like, I'm really not going to chance the way I've been feeling and how life has been. I do not want to get worse than I am right now because I'm just holding it together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, what you're experiencing certainly sounds with what's happening to your nervous system and whatnot. I mean, I am certainly no expert, but it's not that far away from autoimmune disease. The kind of vulnerability that a reaction to the vaccine could be like not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the virus like triggered something, some type of autoimmune stuff going on. It's definitely chronic fatigue. That's definitely one of the things that I kind of feel like I have now, because it's just weird. You feel tired all the time.
For sure. So thankfully, I'm going to get back on the story. So someone thankfully came and got the moderately frightening person out of your doorway.
The pirate guy had to go, and everyone in the ward knew him as the pirate. So, oh God, that was fun. And then I won't say any names, but then I was there, and I just it's mostly women. It seemed like it was like mostly women, in there. So like for me, I kind of felt like, it's hard to relate as much because there's only one other guy who I really talked to. And like the women are all like, it seems like they have this hate, like this rage for like one of the women who was there, her husband cheated on her. So she was in there because she got drunk, so she got drunk to where she tried to like kill herself. And I kind of felt like she displaced her anger towards me because I'm a guy, And
in other words, she was just angry at all men at that point in her life. So
I think so.
It was you were surrounded. You had people around you who couldn't be kind to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, and I don't know, just the vibe for some of the people. I feel like they were just like everyone's angry. You know what I mean? Like you don't go there because you're happy. You're angry. So I feel like a lot of the people like to give shit to people, if that makes sense. Like as I'm and some people as I'm in a wheelchair, like physically feeling like I'm dying, I feel like people are giving me a hard time when I don't know why, you know. It was kind of a weird experience, to be honest, you know.
No, it's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, what you went through would drive most people crazy.
Yeah. No, like if you read most of these people, even like there's like another guy who is like a student, he couldn't handle it. Like all these symptoms I had, he killed himself because, you know, he just couldn't take the burning, the madness of your brain going, you know, insane. It feels like you're going insane every day. And yeah, so I will say I'm a fighter. Let me tell you that.
For sure. So you, at what point, like how long were you at UCLA? Like, did you eventually?
So I was there for 3 weeks. And, you know, I started taking Cymbalta. They started me at like 20 milligrams. Then they bumped me to 30. Then they put me at 60. And then the Ativan, I'm taking 1 milligram. And then the Latuda was for at night to kind of like balance me out and help me go to sleep. And if anyone listening is experiencing COVID long haul symptoms, I highly recommend Cymbalta. Seems to be for the nerve pain part of this. I feel like the Cymbalta definitely has been helping. So I would recommend Cymbalta. I took the Ativan because it calms me the hell down and makes me way less anxious. But doctors are really hesitant to give it to you. So you really have to fight for it. Like you really have to be like, no, I need this drug, you know?
Right, because Cymbalta is normally used as an antidepressant. Mm-hmm. But in your case, it's having an effect on your nervous system and helping you deal with physiological pain.
Yeah. And it's definitely been helping. And physical therapy, trust me. So keep moving, keep exercising, like keep your body going. Because that's like, you know, your healthy mind, healthy body. And what it's done too is like it attacks your mind, your gut, and your heart. So it's kind of like a weird trifecta because it makes your mind go, your stomach. And also I forgot to mention is like when the pain started, I would always have I was having stomach problems a year back. So if you have COVID, if you think you're having long haul symptoms, get your gut checked out because it starts in the gut. I guess it kind of travels downward and then it expands. From what I've learned, I mean, I'm no expert, but I've just been reading. Yeah. So anyways, do you want me to continue with UCLA? Or?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So for the most part, it was an okay experience. I had 24-hour watch. So after the 50-50 was over, I had that for like a week. So 7 days I had to be there. And then they put me on a 14-day voluntary hold. So I said I felt like I needed to be there.
Right. Then, so you said instead of sending me home, like you volunteered, you said, please keep me another 2 weeks.
Yeah. And the doctors were nice. They were, you know, supportive. But like I said, they had me walk. The physical therapist had me walk like 100 feet to the day room where all the activities were. And I was like almost screaming. Like it hurt so bad. My knees were cracking. Like, oh man, excruciating pain. So, but I will say this, I am able to walk around my neighborhood. It's like the greatest feeling ever to go from being stuck in a bed for 5 weeks to being at a hospital for a month to coming home for like 3 weeks, barely being able to walk. And now just being able to walk around my neighborhood, like it is like night and day, literally.
For sure. Yeah. Well, so you jump to that. Do you want to, is there anything in between? Like, is that, are you able to walk because of the effect of the drugs and the things helping your nervous system, that overcoming pain, and then you could start fighting against the atrophy?
And then I'm doing physical therapy twice a week, and that helps so much. I have a physical therapist come for about 45 minutes a day, And at first I didn't want it because I was scared it would hurt too much, you know, but you have to push yourself. You have to make yourself do things you don't want to do, you know?
Yeah. And they really know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. But, sorry, back to the UCLA thing. So I had the option of going. So after being there, they were either going to send me to LA or Lancaster, because I'm on Medi-Cal. So I don't really have the best insurance, but it was covering a lot of good things, which is fine. So I didn't want to go to LA and I didn't want to go to Lancaster. So my other option was to go home. So I kind of had to like fight to be like, hey, no, I want to go home. Don't send me to these facilities, because I, was on a 50-50 hold. They were worried if I go back home, if that would be a good idea, But as you can see, you're talking to me, I'm talking clear. It was a good idea.
Right. You couldn't even converse.
Yeah. I was not conversing when I first got into the hospital. And then about a few days in, started getting on the medication, and I was conversating fine. So
interesting. Yeah. Interesting. So you're taking the drugs semi-permanently.
Yeah. They didn't really.
So that pharmaceutical help plus the physical therapy has really helped.
Yeah. No, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing.
And do you feel like it's turning around? Do you feel like you're not plateauing or anything?
Well, the thing is like I said, now my daily is I wake up about 8 or 9 in the morning, eat breakfast, use the bathroom. I still kind of need help showering because my range of motion isn't the best in my arms. So I need help washing my hair and like wiping my back and stuff.
Yeah, the shower is a really dangerous place for people who are physically impaired. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely like taking a shower is kind of a bitch, not going to lie. But you need to do it. And that's pretty much the most. So I don't have much energy. So my mom has to make food for me, because doing like little things, anything more than like 5 minutes of physical, like moving things, just makes me so fatigued and tired. And so I'll wake up, eat breakfast around 9, take my medication, and then 12 o'clock, that'll be lunchtime. I usually have to have some snacks. Mom make lunch, and then I have dinner around 5 or 6, and I'll take my meds, around 7, and then literally like by the time like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock comes around, I just like zonk, like all of a sudden I'll just be like, whoa, and I'll zonk out and knock out, and pretty much every day just trying to work out, trying to get stronger, trying to get better. Not trying, I am. But the thing is with the mental thing is it's just like having, it's basically, the thing I could describe is it's like having a hangover. I used to drink, I used to party back in my 20s, and it's just like you have this hangover constantly every day where you're just kind of dragging and tired, and you feel like you're hungry, and then like you kind of got like the drunk poo, you know what I mean? Like where you're like, you feel like you got to go a lot, and I don't know, it's weird. That's the best way to describe it. And then you just get so fatigued.
Yeah, you don't have any trouble going to sleep at night because of the exhaustion?
Well, thank God for the pills, because when I was in the hospital, I was only able to sleep for like 3 or 4 hours, and I was tossing and turning, all over the place because it's so loud and just so much is going on, But once you get back home and you're able to turn off the lights and just chill out and not worry about someone standing over you or you're being observed. And I hope that I helped, being a part of the UCLA research. Maybe they can find something from me to help other people who have this.
Yeah, well, I would imagine. I mean, when you reacted well to Ativan Cybulta, and whatever.
The 2-Step?
Yeah. Like, had they experienced positive results with that before? Do you know? Or were they just trying it with you?
I think, I think it was just a trial and error. And I think like Cymbalta is usually like the go-to for neuropathy. So I think that's kind of like one of the things they use all the time. And Ativan's more for like, when patients really go crazy. If someone has like a nervous breakdown, like say you need to go to the ER or hospital, they'll probably put you on Ativan usually because that like calms your body down. So, I don't know. It's been a crazy, the longest, this past 2 years has just been like the longest 2 years of my life,
For sure. And you had, I'm using hand gestures on Zoom for us, but this is just an audio podcast. But you went way down, and now you actually can feel yourself coming back up.
Yeah, it's like a little waves, kind of like an up and a down, up and a down.
Is the little bit of improvement, like you said, like you can walk around the neighborhood. Is that like is that wonderful psychologically for you?
Oh yeah. Trust me. I was literally stuck in my house for months, just literally looking outside the window, and also it made me social phobia for like 9 months. So all my friends were trying to hang out with me and, do stuff, but I just didn't want to be around anyone. I was just depressed. My girlfriend and I were breaking, our connection was just falling apart. And I was just here at home with my mom, kind of just watching me fall apart. It's pretty awful. You know what I mean? Like to have someone you love so much see that happen to you.
Yeah. And you couldn't, and even if friends wanted to be supportive, you weren't physically capable of taking visitors and whatnot, I guess.
No, I was going through these like crazy adrenal things where like I just have this burst of energy and I'd be like pacing around the house, like not knowing what to do with myself, just being like, okay, I just want to, like, I was just like, this has to stop, like just my mind and my body were going insane. And I didn't want to talk to my friends because my friends would just ask me the same question. What's wrong? What's going on with you? You know what I mean? Like it just would have been like the same repetition over and over and over. And then my girlfriend and I would just we were just kind of like arguing on the phone. So then I didn't want to talk to her much because it would stress me out more,
That's a bummer. It would actually lead to arguments.
Yeah. Cause she saw like, would say, hey, you need to go to this doctor. And it just became all about doctors and you're not doing things right. And it became less about, making love and having all the, you know what I mean?
No, I mean, it's, yeah, it wasn't the role. It wasn't what you needed.
Yeah, no, I needed like,
neither of you were getting what you needed.
No. I needed a friend, but she works her job. She had to go to her job and I'm just stuck at home. And like, obviously then there's stuff going on with all, the Bitcoin and all my investments, things are going kind of haywire. That didn't help, money situations going wire and the investment I made in Vegas, like that was just costing a lot of money. So I was just being drained every way, which way you can imagine, mentally, physically, emotionally, my whole body just being attacked every way.
Man. So now.
Yeah.
Now you're walking around and are you able to see friends again?
Yeah. It's actually so. Yeah, one of my best friends, Jeff, he came by. He comes by like once a week to check in on me, and we have some laughs. And I do my best. My other friend Vince, who I told you about earlier, he came by and brought me some dinner. So on Saturday, he came over for about an hour, and he brought me dinner, and we just chatted and had some laughs. And the one thing that sucks is, sorry people, but if you get this, you're not going to be able to drink anymore because drinking alcohol is like worst idea. Let me tell you, I took like one shot of Jack and I was just done for the other night. I just thought like, hey, I'm feeling better. Why not? Like a little better. Mm-hmm. Don't do it.
Yeah, because alcohol goes right to the alcohol affects the nervous system, right? So you can't. I mean, I'll just ask. What about Do you avoid everything? Do you avoid weed? Do you avoid pain pills?
I mean, I've smoked. Well, so I just went to the pain management clinic, and they got me on muscle relaxers. So and then I wanted to get on opioids, but they highly recommend I don't because they're very addictive.
Yeah.
And I'm so young, that it's kind of like, it's just for the pain. I don't really want to do it, but, when you're in so much pain, you don't care sometimes. You know what I mean?
For sure, because you just want the pain to go.
And, and I forgot to mention this. I'm actually, like, I'm not bragging. I'm actually a pretty good poker player. So before this COVID really started hitting me, I was actually like starting to win some money, playing online and I was getting pretty good. So there's a lot of things that this took away from me, that's really hard because I used to play basketball. Like I said, physically I can be very intimate with my girlfriend, and then poker. I can play poker for like maybe like a few minutes, half hour, and then that's it. Like I've used my brain power. Right,
your physical stamina. Even for that, your stamina is gone.
Yeah, because in poker, it's all about strategy, and it's about it takes a lot of thinking, a lot of processing, and that's really hard, man. Like that was one of the ways I was making money too. So my survival has kind of been ripped from me of what I knew how to do things,
Well, sure. I mean, you're just on the mend. Like,
yeah,
the idea of even being able to support yourself or make money, it's got to be way secondary to just getting better.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm trying, honestly, I want to try and get on disability, but they make it really hard for you with even having COVID. So that's a whole process right now, and the good thing is I've always been a saver and I've always had good credit. And like, I've always been the person who's been good with money. So luckily I'm not in debt right now. Thank God. And thank God for Medi-Cal, because Medi-Cal actually hasn't been that bad. They've covered most of my stuff. I get all this medication. So thank you.
For sure. I'm so glad, thank God there's a little bit of a safety net left in this country.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
Because, I don't know. This is me getting a little political because I've had discussions that upset me because, like I told you, well, I might have said this before we started recording, but
no. Yeah.
My best friend who COVID actually he died during the first couple weeks of COVID. He happened to have traveled to one of the hot spots in this country for business in early March, and he was gone. And wow. I hear people talk about, I'm young, I'm healthy, so if I get it, it won't be bad, blah, blah, blah. The people who die and have problems, it's because they don't take care of themselves, this, that, the other. And it's like, fuck you. My best friend had Hodgkin's lymphoma at age 11, survived it. And then that was actually his comorbidity that COVID killed him. I'm like, if you're going to say that this athletic, healthy human being deserved it because they had a disease as a kid, like it's just really fucked up what people, and you were a healthy, active person.
Oh yeah. No, seriously. I had no conditions, nothing. I was perfectly good to go,
Yeah. And they won't know. We may never know why long COVID hit you. It's just some weird, human beings' bodies are so unique from each other that something in your body chemistry, COVID managed to disrupt.
Yeah. Well, one thing I read, they were saying that people ages like 22 to like late 50s, that's when like the long COVID hits them the hardest, I guess. So I'm like in that demographics, and then also was it the 22 to like your 50s, and something about COVID, your immunity, this is what happens. Sorry, I'm a long hauler, so I'm allowed. I get excuses. I can lose my mind for a minute.
No,
I don't have it written down. I need to write stuff down sometimes, but it can happen. This can literally someone like me, a person who was healthy all their life, and it just in a flash, you almost
lost
you
everything.
just don't know. Yeah, I literally almost died. You know? And to have that feeling of you're dying, as to go from the healthiest, happiest, being at the beach, being with your friends, playing basketball, doing music. I was a drummer, to have all these things going in your life, to being on that bed, like I might die, it really wakes you up, really makes you appreciate. So now I'm donating more. Like right now, I recommend, if you guys, people are out there listening, if you want to donate to something, the World Hunger for Ukraine, whatever you can. I'm doing like $50 a month, just to help others. Now I really want to. It really opened my eyes to, I want to help others as much as I can. So it's a real experience. And no, you do not want to go through it. So Be safe, wear a mask, get vaccinated.
Yeah. Wear a mask if you feel a little cold. Maybe throw on a mask just because you don't know. Yeah. You just can't be sure until you know.
Yes, protect yourself, because it's the other people you got to worry about.
Yeah.
So I'm here. My neighbors have been really supportive. My family's been supportive. I'm just one of thousands of people out there who they're not talking about on the news. You really don't hear much about long haulers.
You don't. Every once in a while they bring up long haulers, but it's rare. And I mean, I don't have a lot of info about it, but I believe my ex-wife's sister has long COVID.
Really?
Yeah, she's in her 60s, and I believe the last I heard, they were sick together 5 months ago, and she I don't know. I guess I'm sharing something I shouldn't share, but it's not a bad thing. But that she is still having a really hard time. She can't recover from it. She's just not recovering. 5-6 months later.
Yeah, that's awful. And I'm someone like me. I'm not married, and I don't have to take care of someone else. Which that's what I think about. Like the article I sent you. Imagine being 37 with like a kid, or imagine having to take care of someone, and you can't even really take care of yourself. That's an insane thought. So I'm blessed to have someone who can help me. My mom has been the angel, a blessing. My dad's in the picture too, but he's, you can only do so much. You know what I mean? So,
well, props to your mom, and thank goodness you're getting thank goodness the story didn't just get worse and worse and worse and worse, because
seriously.
Because Lord knows, I mean, knock on wood that you keep getting better, but no parent should have to. We're supposed to outlive our parents.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's so hard for a parent to lose a child, whether they're 6 or 35. It's it's something that people can't understand.
Yeah. And it's like, it's just such a crazy thing, because I went from being a social butterfly, I would work, I would DJ, I would play drums, I would film, you know what I mean? Like I would make movies. So you have to be around a lot of people. You know, that was my way of being creative and living with a purpose. You know, that's our way. That's as a filmmaker, you know, as a musician, you vibe through the people, you know, you get that energy. And when
these are
COVID
collaborative arts. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And when COVID came, it kind of just took that away from everyone. And, you know, it made everyone scared and made, you know, that also had a huge effect on me. Maybe be at home alone, like not really talking to many people, not being who I am. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that played an effect because that makes you anxious. If you're not able to do what you know, what you're used to doing, like that messes with your brain, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything, you know, what I normally do at the end of a podcast is we would stop and then record another one. And I'd ask people 4 questions about favorite movies and stuff. You want to wrap up talking about your favorite movies?
Well, that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up, is I actually, and like that article I sent you, I haven't watched a movie in like, it's probably been like 7-8 months because of this COVID. My attention span and watching screens gives me headaches.
Oh, so now you actually can't even enjoy the medium that you worked in.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
Ah, my heart goes out to you.
See?
And
it's
you
like,
don't even, can you watch like in little bits or it's not worth it because it can cause too much discomfort?
I can watch, maybe like, you know, 10, 20 minutes increments, but I haven't watched a full movie in like 8-9 months.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty hard. It's disheartening. It's insane.
For sure. Well, good thing Hayden always makes shorts.
Yeah. Hey, you hit it on the hammer on the nail, you know?
You can watch whatever he's doing next.
Yeah. Short films are great because, you know, you get what you need from them, and, you know, I can process that at least. And, you know, I'd still like to produce films. You know, unfortunately, I just can't really be on the sets anymore. You know what I mean? I can't really, energy.
And damn, you know, I'm stating the obvious here, but because COVID was a novel virus, the coronavirus of 2019 was completely new in the human body. So there is no way to predict what lays ahead. So
yeah,
I'm so happy to hear you're on a good trajectory right now.
Yeah, definitely.
And I hope to the universe that you don't have that it just keeps getting better.
Yeah, for sure. I'm down for more questions. If people, you know, think of things that anyone would want to know, you know what I mean? Like I can answer them for you.
I mean, about COVID or?
Yeah. Well, what it's like, or, you know, anything. You know.
I mean, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah.
I asked whenever, I guess maybe one question would have been like, how long did it take? Did you get a sense that it was long COVID before a doctor said it to you? Or was it a doctor, someone finally said to you, this is sounding like long COVID? Like, because you just had the brain fog, right? And then you expected to get all right. Like, it's not like anything you read in the magazine, you know, in the news was talking about brain fog.
No. They just focus on like the breathing problems, you know?
The breathing and you know.
Yeah.
Admittedly, like when you told me you were at a restaurant, you know, I was waiting for you to say that like you lost your sense of taste or something, but it sounds
yeah. No, thank God I didn't lose my taste or scent. So thank God for that. But I will say this, as I started getting worse, my senses started getting stronger. So I could taste things more. Everything smelled like crazy. Like I can't use, I have to use no scent soap. I can't have like any any type of fragrance, no perfume, no cologne, anything that smells really like strong, I can't be around. It drives me insane.
Wow. So your senses are stronger.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't know why.
Yeah. No explanation.
Oh, and this is the other thing that's the worst. This is what almost got me, is tinnitus, ringing of the ears. Let me tell you guys, I have to say this. It is the worst thing you will experience, because at first it came and went, but now it doesn't really go away. And at night, I literally have to listen to music. I have to be around noise because it rings. The ringing is so bad that like that alone will drive you insane, you know?
You know, I'm giving you a hug through Zoom because I have, that's my other main side effect of chemotherapy is tinnitus.
Oh, is it?
And so actually for 5 years, I have not gone to sleep without an earbud in my ear because I pretty much don't hear it all day. As long as there's any kind of other sound, I don't hear it. Yeah. And then literally TV goes off, head on the pillow, and then, and it's so disturbing that if I just pop in an earbud, you know, it used to be wired, now it's wireless, but I pop it in and I just play a boring, I have specific boring podcasts that I listen to. And as long as I hear some kind of sound, the ringing, my brain can ignore the ring. Now that it's been 5 years. But tinnitus is a motherfucker. Tinnitus, it's funny, I have tinnitus and neuropathy, and here you are telling me about your tinnitus and neuropathy.
Oh yeah, and it's especially because, you know, I never had it before, so to all of a sudden go from like getting it a little bit to all of a sudden full blown after 6 months, like, you know, like whoa man.
Yeah, it makes it sound like what that virus did to you was as damaging to your nervous system as platinum-based chemotherapy drugs were to my nervous system.
Interesting.
But worse, but more so.
Yeah.
Definitely more so.
Yeah.
But you have the same, you have the same effects of a drug that literally kills every cell in your body that's fast growing. Like, I mean, it's a trip. It's a trip when you go through like an intensive chemotherapy, and it's insane what happens to the body.
I bet. Tell me. I don't know not much about it. So
I don't talk about it a lot, but that's what chemotherapy does. It any cell that's fast replicating gets killed. It interrupts the replication. So, you know, bone marrow gone, hair gone. You know,
Jesus,
some of your nerves gone, and then you know that stuff comes back. Most of it comes back, but then you end up with this. You know, in your extremities, you got the neuropathy, like, and the tinnitus. I guess, that ringing in the ears. It's something.
It's hell. Trust me. You no one out there wants that. Trust that. Like
for sure.
And there's not much. And they say, I mean, I don't know what you heard, but they say it comes from the brain, not actually the ears. There's some nerve, something with the nerves in your brain that are causing it. So, and then the vagus nerve, that's what it kind of attacked. That's like your main nerve, your biggest nerve, and the COVID, the COVID attacks that part of it and messes with your brain. I'm just happy I don't have the lung thing, I'm really blessed. Because if I was barely able to breathe every day too, on top of everything else that's going on, I don't know, man. Like,
that would, for sure, that would be insane. That'd be, yeah. I mean, I have no idea what caused it. The funny thing is you said something about, did you say Cymbalta helps with neuropathy?
Yeah.
It's funny because my oncologist was like, well, if you have neuropathy, you have neuropathy. We're not going to treat it because, we saved you from cancer. So just accept the neuropathy as your payment for it. But that's interesting that there might be some help with it. But it's not debilitating. I mean, it's not debilitating. I feel it sometimes, like a long walk and stuff, or like if we go shopping and like, a street fair and it's like a mile back and forth, like, man, the wrong shoes and I'm just in trouble.
Yeah.
But, but I can do sports, I can exercise and things,
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm lucky that way. All this discomfort tends to go away when I play tennis.
Oh, well, tennis is a beautiful sport, so.
It's that's my sport. That's what I grew up playing.
Oh, also, so what's weird is I have very vivid dreams too. I didn't really talk about this. I'll just mention it real quick. Like pretty much I just dream about what I went through the day, but I did have this one crazy dream where it was like I died. That was interesting. I was laying on the bed and literally I saw like bright yellow lights, and I've never experienced this before in my life. And it kind of just felt like my I just felt like my soul or my something was just lighter. I just felt like kind of being lifted. And I'm not a spiritual guy or anything, but when this was happening at the worst part of it, like right before like the worst part started happening, when you're operating and all that, I felt like my mind and I felt being lifted up. It was an insane thing, man. I never experienced anything like that in my life. So, who knows? Maybe it was an angel looking after me. Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, your body, every system in your body, your nervous system, your vascular system, all these things have been under attack.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would imagine you're going to get a lot of interesting experiences over the years.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, hey, just for shits and giggles, you want to, back in the before times, you want to name your 3 favorite movies?
Oh yeah, man, there are a lot of I love. Let's see. Well, obviously, I know it's so cliche, but I would always, as a kid, I watched Forrest Gump so many times. So, I like the idea of the freedom he had. He didn't realize he had, like, he just was going with the flow, things were just happening for him. He didn't even have to like really do much. You know what I mean? He's just like, okay, like, I'm going to go run. Okay. I'm going to join the army. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's just such a great story. And the music, the soundtrack to that is just amazing, And a close second, I must say, is the movie Twister. I don't know how many times you've seen that movie, but that's a great movie too.
It's funny is I haven't seen Twister since I saw it in theaters when it first came out. Really? Yeah.
Just listen to the soundtrack. When you get a chance, soundtrack it up.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Steven. Anything else before we jump off? I appreciate you doing it. I appreciate you sharing this.
I would just say, the China virus is like, I think that's the one that's here now. Another one, I don't know what the name of it is.
Oh, but, the new variant, the sub variant of, isn't it a sub of Omicron?
Yeah, something like that. And they say it's like even more contagious. So
I know. And all the air quotes experts who are experts because they've read like a couple of things online keep saying, oh, more contagious but less deadly. And they keep thinking everything's going to get less deadly and less deadly, but one of these days we could be hit by a variant that is more contagious and more deadly.
Yeah, you don't know, so you want to be as safe as possible. Oh, and the one thing I didn't say, I was in the hospital 6 times. It took the 6th time to actually get me to UCLA where I needed to be. And let me tell you, being in the ER that many times is very eye-opening, because you see people die, literally, seeing people on ventilators, seeing people. I saw someone throwing up blood, like seeing all these people, like, all these things. I really respect nurses and doctors and, what they go through. And, we got to give them some mad props, because I was only there 6 times and I never want to be there again. So I couldn't imagine working 7, imagine being there for like a week, and every day it's something new and someone crazy and something else going on. And it's like, you really have to be a special type of person to work in the hospital,
They really are. Doctors and nurses and the staff, everyone's pretty amazing. And my God, that was one of the worst things about the last 2+ years, was people inspired by crazy bullshit online, like attacking those people and saying, you're lying, COVID's fake, you're part of the machine. Like hospital workers were abused by some members of the public.
Seriously.
And they're literally risking their lives for us.
Yeah, literally.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. But thank you to them, because they are there. Most of, they're there to help us, and you don't know until you see it. It was nice to have people who really care for you, especially if you have no one there for you. If you have to go to a hospital and you don't have friends and family. Like,
oh my God. COVID taught us that there were people in hospitals who would hold iPads for patients so they could say goodbye to family. I mean, what these people went through is, I can't fathom it.
Yeah. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. Is there, are you, you probably aren't. This is the dumbest question of the night is, is there social media or anything that, like, you have an Instagram people should follow or something?
Yeah, of course I have an Instagram.
All right. I didn't know if you were like, I said, fuck it to social media as soon as it started, because I couldn't even type 140 characters.
Yeah. Right. Well, I was off for 6 months when I was going crazy, dude. I was off Facebook and that shit. Every time I logged into that would make it worse. So now I'm okay though. So yeah, you guys can find me at Steven Shot It at Instagram. It's just simple, Steven Shot It, and that's where I post mostly stories on there. I like to post stories that are kind of like funny. I've always been a funny person, so I post pretty things, things going on through my day, and then like some things that make you laugh. So if you guys want to come on by, that'd be awesome.
Excellent. And that'll be in the show notes for sure. So all good.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. And I hope you guys have learned something from my experience. I'm no expert, but I've lived through it. So I'm someone, if anyone has questions, you can contact me through Instagram. If someone feels like they might have long haul symptoms, I can, maybe give you a little tips and tricks, but I'm no doctor, so no promises.
And people should listen to your story and realize that, like, your initial COVID symptoms weren't so bad. Like, don't be cocky. Please don't say things like, oh, I got the first vaccinations, but I'm not going to bother getting boosted because I'm not scared anymore. Like, get boosted. Because I'm in cancer recovery, I actually just had my second booster. I've gotten that thing 4 times and I'm happy, but because you don't know if the next variant could have mild symptoms and then 10 times the rate of long COVID. Like, our hospitals could end up filled with people going through what you went through. We just don't know what the hell's going to happen with this thing. So I know everyone wants to get out and have a normal life and everything, but at the very least, stay up on your vaccinations and vote for politicians who want to give free vaccines to the third world, because variants are going to keep coming to us from countries that don't have the vaccine. Yeah,
you got to stay on top of it. And, it's just, I loved to be, like I said, around the people. I would be in concerts, you name it, rock shows, filming, everything where it involves being around people. And I just feel like it just was unlucky. You know, literally the virus hit right before the vaccine. You know what I mean? Like, what can you do? That's sometimes things happen in life. But at least now, all you people out there can say you're vaccinated, and hopefully the vaccine helps you, get past it. So,
for sure, yeah, that's true. You got it about 5-6 months before it would have been readily available to someone your age, right? Because when the vaccine rolled out in like January of 2021, it was, 70 and up and nursing homes, and it slowly worked its way down to other people. So yeah, you would have probably had to wait till May or June of 2021.
Yeah, it would have been almost a whole nother year, like 9 months, which is pretty crazy. And like I said, I didn't get the vaccine just because like I'm a type of person, I read every day and I do a lot of research, and like I'm not an anti-vaxxer or anything like that. It's just I'm doing what I think's best for me, because the whole time I've kind of felt like the vaccine wouldn't help me. And my inner voice is saying, I feel like I don't feel like it's going to help me. That's just me, But if you're a person who's partying, going out there, working in the field, like being around people all the time, then you should probably be fully vaccinated. That's my recommendation.
For sure. So. All right, sir. I think I'm going to say goodnight. We recorded this at nighttime. It was a pleasure. Normally at the end of these podcasts, I'll like rattle off a bunch of websites and such that people can follow. But I'll say that the films that Steven worked on, the reason I'm connected to Steven and his work with a filmmaker named Hayden Croft is from Film Invasion Los Angeles and the Sherman Oaks Film Festival. I'm a programmer of both, and if people want to learn about indie film and stuff, this podcast is called Discover Indie Film, so it's discoverindiefilm.com, and on Instagram it's at DIFwins. It's actually at DIFwins on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And you can learn about those film festivals. You can find them if you Google them, but I guess it's filminvasionla.com and at filminvasionla, and shermanoaksff.com and at shermanoaksff. All right. I've sort of been moderately professional there at the end.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, so thank you so much for having me. And Hayden Croft, he's the guy I work with. He has some good stuff that he's come out with, and I help produce films with him. And let's just keep the movies coming. Let's
you guys always do really original, creative. You don't settle for a story someone's seen before.
No, definitely not.
Which is all. I think that's all an audience really should ask for is be creative and let me enjoy.
That's right. You judge it for yourself.
Yeah, it's art.
Art is beautiful.
All right, we'll close on Art is Beautiful. Thank you, Steven.
Thank you.